Welcome in, everybody. I'm very excited to start this immersion. This is something that I've been wanting to share for a very long time in the ClassPass community. And these immersions, I've done many different topics and themes. And this one in particular, I haven't done so much, or I haven't done yet, simply because it is near and dear to my heart. And I also know that for a lot of people, there's a big attraction to something like handstand. There's a very small attraction to something like meditation. And yet meditation is the thing that can really transform our life in the biggest way. So it's something that I really wish a lot of people would be excited by and really know the power of. But of course, it's one of those things like when I started practicing yoga, I wished people would practice yoga. And the thing was, the vast majority of people at that time, like my age, which was at that time like 24 or whatever, within that 20 something age bracket, really didn't know what yoga was, nor did they know the benefits of it because they never tried it. And so my teaching career began by trying to share this yoga practice with my friends because they didn't really want to go to a yoga studio. They thought that was weird. And so this is back in 2008, by the way, so quite some time ago, before yoga was like really a big, popular booming thing, before Lululemon really came out, and they were kind of there but not really fully present yet. And so yoga as a marketing thing and what's the consumerism wasn't quite on the map yet. And so it took a lot of explaining to people what yoga was and why I did it and what were the benefits and how much I loved it, for anybody to even be of interest. So I'm just going to make sure that, noise is good. And hello, everyone. Oh, nice. We've got a bunch of new people in the chat. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. We got Val from Rhode Island, Tara, Rover, Stuttgart in the house, Jessica, nice to see you. Canada, all right. More Canada, a couple of Canadians in the house. And London, cool. All right, so essentially, just to recap real quick, I've been wanting to share this immersion for a long time because the first real tip into transformation of my life was actually before the physical yoga practice. It was with meditation. So I was trying to meditate based on something my father had said a long time ago. He meditated a little bit and he said, if you're trying to calm your mind, you can, we lived by the bay, the Long Island Sound, so a body of water, not like the ocean where it's like big waves, but very calm. And they keep the boats out on the water, kind of like a big lake. And the boats are anchored to what's called a buoy that is floating in the water. Okay, so he said, if you want to just calm your mind, look out at the buoy and try to keep your focus on that buoy and see if you can quiet the mind. And so I had been trying that, and all I heard was noises. I just heard chatter, 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 chatter. And it seemed like the more I tried to focus, the more the volume of my thoughts would go up. So I still tried regardless, and for quite some time. And what I began doing, instead of at the time doing this quieting of the mind, I started contemplating more deeply. And that was important for me because it helped me organize my thoughts and organize what was up here. So even though there was no quietness, it was more pleasant to be up here in the mind, in my thoughts, okay? Which then in turn eventually helped me with my emotional swings and so on. And long story short, life really began shifting for me in a new direction. A few years after this, a few years into this kind of meditation practice that I was building, I would say contemplation practice I was building, I came across a book that a friend recommended. And it said, if you're struggling with seated meditation, try yoga. It's a moving meditation. It's a little bit easier for people to cultivate attention. So I did. The next day I went to my stepmother's yoga class, and the rest is history. Like, I fell in love with the practice. And she always offered in those classes yoga, and more often than not, yoga meaning asana, the physical practice, more often than not, we would end the class with a pranayama, breath work, and meditation. That was just part of it, with pranayama, meditation, and that was how we practiced. And I didn't really know any other way, so this was normal. And then when I was receiving the guidance from her on how to meditate, it was so much easier for me to go in and find a serene place that felt still, but it wasn't until a few years after that, when I accidentally signed up for an immersion, that in-person kind of immersion, that highlighted meditation as the focal point. I thought I was coming to an asana, like a real physical oriented training. And this was a long immersion, not like a month-long thing. This was almost a year-long thing. I signed up for an immersion with two teachers. One teacher was teaching the physical, the other teacher was teaching meditation. And I'm talking not yoga, pranayama, meditation like we're going to be doing, but straight up like wake up in the morning, you arrive at 7 a.m. and you meditate for like 5 hours. It was so intense. We're not going to be doing that here. I'm not going to throw you into the fire like that. But I will say that practice of meditation is what really transformed my life. Until then, I was really feeling like only if I practiced yoga that day would I feel good that day, right? I'd have to really keep up with that practice. And if I didn't practice the next day, then I'd start to feel an energy dip. I would feel like my mind, I was more agitated. I was feeling physically not good in my body. I'd have to get into my practice and then, I felt good again. It was this high and low kind of thing that ultimately I think was good in that it got me really addicted to asana, which was a good thing, I admit, because it was something it was an addiction that really served me. But through meditation, I started getting through many, many layers of my mind that was unbeknownst to me, I didn't know these layers of perception and belief systems and thought patterns and emotional patterns were actually quite often holding me back from experiencing day-to-day freedom. And that's because these mental, emotional patterns that I was having were oftentimes the cause of pain in the physical body. Like, you all know it. If you've had some sort of stress, it might go up to your neck, or you might feel it in your low back. Everybody's got physical pain points that happen when life is not going their way, right? And that's because the nervous system is attached to the brain. The brain and the nervous system are reacting. This part is the unknown in science. We assume that our thoughts or our emotions are causing the brain to react a certain way, or the brain is causing the thoughts and emotions to react in a certain way. And those two are interchangeable, right? So if you think a positive thought, maybe serotonin gets released into your nervous system and makes you feel even more happy and joyful. If you think a negative, stressful thought, perhaps you're going to get like cortisol into your system, and then it perpetuates the issue. Or if cortisol is in your system, maybe your thoughts are a little bit more agitated, right? So and by the way, all of these hormones and chemicals are in our system. It's just a matter if they're released at any given time. Now, what yoga teaches us is how to control the release of these chemicals. Now, we don't necessarily know that we're controlling the release of the chemical. We only know how we feel and what we're thinking, right? And then we only know if we're fighting against something, or it feels like everything's kind of flowing in that direction. It feels like, oh, this is great, this is right. Now, this is the thing what turns most people off about meditation that I really want to lay the foundation for now. There's a word called tapas. Tapas is the rigor of the yoga practice. It is the friction or the heat or the intensity that comes with stepping into the path of yoga. By the way, the path of yoga, or the umbrella of yoga practices, we call this your sadhana. Your sadhana is your yoga practices. It includes asana, meditation, pranayama, your self-reflections, your journaling. Anytime you're trying to cultivate awareness of yourself, that's sadhana. Now, when you are in the path of sadhana practice, you are undoubtedly going to face the tapas, the rigor, the challenges that come along with it. You know it from asana, right? It's like, yeah, I want to, get into my practice, get into my body, and then you start moving, and there is a bit of rigor that happens either right at the beginning or in the middle. There's a rigor for your muscles start heating up, they start getting tired. And if you associate that rigor with a positive, I'm getting stronger, my heart is getting stronger, my cardiovascular system is increasing, right? If you associate the rigor with positivity, then you're okay with the rigor. You're like excited about that rigor. If you associate it with negativity, like, oh, it's not working, I'm getting tired, I'm not strong enough, like if you get all those, then you're probably likely to avoid the rigor. This is very important because physically, most of us understand that. If you've been practicing for asana for some time now, you get it, right? The same thing happens in meditation. There is a rigor, there is a tapas that comes with meditation. And we have to learn to embrace it as the process towards cleansing the mind. It's like if you tried to clean your house, there's effort that goes into cleaning in order for the house to become clean, right? It takes effort. That same process in cleaning the mind, there is effort that goes into cleaning the mind it's required. It's not only required, it's a privilege that we get to experience that, because that means we have a mind, right? We have this magnificent thing that, yes, it may be chaotic and unorganized right now, and there might be thought patterns and emotional patterns and something called samskaras we'll go over next time, just childhood patterns that have built up that have been there for a while, and it takes some organization, some cleaning, some cleansing. So this immersion is entirely about the process of, one, stepping into the class, which you have done, so thank you, stepping into the sadhana, the practices, and two, learning to embrace the rigor, the challenges, the friction, the intensity, the hardships, the struggles you want to call them, right? Learning to embrace them in a way that actually reminds us of why we're doing it, so that we actually are excited when those challenges come up, right? Same thing, like, could you imagine a bodybuilder goes to the gym like, I'm gonna get strong, picks up a weight, goes, oh, that's hard, let me walk away from that. That doesn't make any sense. They know that they have to pick that weight up, they have to challenge themselves, they have to break down the muscle in order for it to rebuild stronger. Same thing with the mind, okay? So thank you all for being here. We got Switzerland in the house as well. We got another one from Stuttgart. Nice. This is amazing. We got Tarrytown, New York. All right, cool. All right, thank you everybody. And I'm just honored to have you here and honored to share this magnificent practice, this journey with you. A couple of quick things. I want to give a big shout out to Second Wind Health, who sponsors the immersions. They are the ones they're the yoga mats that I practice on. Yoga blocks, Second Wind over here as well. I love cork blocks for the yoga practice, by the way, and they make really great ones. They're not too large, so I suggest them. And the Second Wind mats, they have different types. The one that I practice on most often is called the Soul Mat. I love the design of it, but I also not visually stimulating. It's nice, artistic, but it's also functionally designed well in that there's lines on the mat that helps me place my hands in the right places. There's center lines, so there's diagonal lines. I like the Soul Mat for that reason. All of their artistic designs are beautiful, and they're just high quality mats. The Soul Mat is based on the Sticky Mat, so if the Soul Mat's too expensive because it's a limited edition experience, then the Sticky Mat is what I suggest, all right? So thank you to Second Wind for sponsoring the immersions and for providing me with the best possible yoga equipment, or I guess apparel, or whatever you want to call it, props. And then the last thing I'll say is you do need props to sit comfortably in meditation. Now I'm gonna provide a video for all of you of different seats, but real quick, one block underneath the hips is really nice for seated meditation, or two blocks perhaps You can place both under the hips and you sit in what's called Virasana. I'm showing you this now just because when we go to seated meditation later, I don't want to break the experience. So you can have 2 blocks under your shins, and this is what I prefer, 1 or 2 blocks for seated Virasana. In the case of seated Virasana, sometimes if you don't got a lot of cushion underneath here, like my sit bones are pretty close to the surface. So in that case, you might want to use a foam block or put a blanket on top of your cork block. That said, a cross-legged position is also great. If you're sitting up on a blanket, make sure your butt's on the blanket, your shins are not, okay? If you find that your low back is rounding, it means you need higher proppage, okay? So up taller. If you feel your legs are falling asleep, same thing. Usually you need to sit up on something taller. Now, the number 1 seated position I recommend for meditation is sitting on a chair. I won't be doing that here. Personally, I like to sit on a block, but more often, after yoga practice, but more often than not, when I'm meditating on my own without doing yoga without the yoga mat set up, then I'm sitting on a chair. You just don't lean back in the chair, you sit towards the edge of it. So if you got a chair at home, it's a great place to start, and I suggest it today until I share that video with you. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna do about 30 to 40 minutes of yoga practice, a little bit less today since I wanted to give you that introduction. And then we'll get into a simple pranayama, which is a breathing exercise, and then into our meditation. And we'll build up, over the course of the immersion, longer meditations as your muscle of your mind gets stronger. All right, let's start today on all fours, hands and knees. Let's take a breath in. Hello from north of Germany. Hello, hello, Sandra. Nice to see you, Sandra Wagner. And Petty likes the yoga mats too. I'm glad you appreciate the quality. All right, let's take a breath in. Exhale, round the back, gaze towards your navel. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round, gaze inward. Inhale, arch and look up. We got Georgia in the house. Welcome, Nina. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, point the feet and round. Inhale, arch and look up. Child's pose this time. As you exhale, you can point the feet round, move back, hips to heels. Inhale, forward arch. Just move the hips a little bit more. Lean forward too. Grip your fingers into the mat. Exhale, point. Child's pose. Point the feet, that is. Inhale, forward. Tuck toes, arch. Exhale, round, child's pose. Let's go for a swim. Take the left arm for a big stroke. Left arm reaches up and around. Exhale, back. Inhale, right arm for a big swim. Exhale, back. Left arm for a big swim. And exhale. Right arm, swim. Exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Inhale. Lean forward, lower chaturanga. Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Welcome, Leslie. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, soften back down. Two more, gentle, lift the heart up, just warming up the back muscles. And Nina, glad you finally made it to a chat. Exhale. Happy March immersion to you. One more time, inhale, lift the heart up. And exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Pedal out the legs, bend each knee. Take the right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Hang here and breathe. So our primary focus this month with the physical practice is really posture, like seated position. So that means hip openers, back strengtheners, all sorts of things like that to help our seated postures. Straighten the right leg on the inhale. Step the right foot forward. Come high up on the fingertips and take a breath. But it's also about aligning our energy, trying to find that magnificent place where we're both awake, alert, present, but not over-energized, where we can't focus. So calm as well. Pull your feet toward each other, the hips will lift. And press your front heel down, round your back. Lengthen through the top of the head as you inhale, back of the neck long. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend, knee, open up hip. Full breath in. And out. Another breath in. Now, any journey usually starts off with excitement and there's energy behind it. Straighten the leg. Step the left foot forward. And that excitement carries through the first part of it. But then there's that middle to 3/4 of the way point where things start getting really challenging. And that's, generalization. Sometimes it's right off the bat for some people, right? But that's where the tapas kicks in, the rigor, the intensity, and the embracing of it is what makes it so important. If we can embrace the challenges that lie ahead of us or currently right in front of us, then we can stay on in our path, our sadhana. Pull your feet toward each other and press the left heel down round the back. And when we stay on the path and embrace the challenges, that's how we get stronger. We develop mentally, emotionally, physically. One more full breath, lengthen through the top of the head. Exhale, down dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Knees down, chaturanga, exhale. Again, let's just warm up the back. Inhale, lift the heart up, shoulder blades toward each other. Exhale, soften back down. Now I'm going to ask you to lift your hands up next time. So inhale, heart up first, shoulder blades together, hands up. Exhale. Heart, hands, and feet. Inhale, heart, shoulder blades together, hands, feet. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck toes. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky on the inhale. Step forward as you exhale. High up on the fingertips, we take a breath. And soften. Gather strength in the legs, pull your feet toward each other, press down into your front heel, hips will lift. Exhale, turn the belly, turn the chest for a twist. Slow, steady, right hand follows the spine. Again, inhale, unwind. Breathe into your back body, gather strength in the legs. Exhale, twist belly, chest, right shoulder blade, hand. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, turn your belly, chest, right shoulder blade, hand. Inhale, the right hand comes to the inside of the right foot. Left heel comes down and widen your left hand out to the side. Okay? Gather strength in the legs by pulling your feet toward each other. Your hips will lift. Keep your hips lifted upward. And then from this position of strength, so not falling down, but up nice and tall, then bend the elbows and bow to the inside of your leg. Now lift the heart again, inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. One more time, inhale. Exhale and bow. Walk the hands back to the front of the yoga mat. Inhale, straighten through the front leg, lengthen the chest. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. We're going to hang out here, breathe in. Tuck the chin a little to the chest. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the front knee. Inhale. Down dog as you exhale. Forward plank on the in-breath. Knees down, lower all the way to the ground. This time you're going to interlace the hands behind the back. Slide your hands at your low back. Start by shrugging your shoulders towards your ears a little bit and squeezing then your shoulder blades together to retraction. Reach the hands up to the sky. Press the pelvis down into the ground. Inhale, lift the heart up. Alberto from Germany, nice to see you. Exhale, soften a little bit. Again, lift the heart up. Soften a little bit more. Last round, lift the heart up, maybe the feet. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. We take a breath high up on the fingertips. Press through your left heel strongly. As you exhale, turn your belly, chest, shoulder, left hand. Again, unwind. Inhale. Slow and steady. Exhale, turn the belly, chest, shoulder, hand. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale, left hand to the inside of your left foot. Back heel comes down, warrior 2 feet. The right hand slides back quite a bit, so your torso is not facing forward, but more on the diagonal of the yoga mat. Okay, now lift your hips up by pulling your feet toward one another. That'll activate your inner thigh muscles and hamstrings of the front leg. Press your front heel down as if you're trying to stand up, okay, so that your glute muscles here start to fire up. Keeping that, we take a breath in, lengthen the chest, and we bow 3 times, bend the elbows. Again, inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, bow. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, walk the hands back to the front. Pivot the back heel up. Inhale, straighten through the front leg. Exhale and bow over your straight front leg. I suggest tucking the chin a little bit. Those of you that are very flexible, make sure you round your upper back by pulling your front ribs in. And those of you that are struggling a little bit in this position where the hamstrings feel really tight, don't force it, but instead use the blocks, hands on blocks. If you coax your body, like that's the thing, most people force
things that are actually passive, like we don't force flexibility. That is something different. So don't stay in the rigor of pain. Instead, actually back out of it a little bit. It'll teach your body to trust the situation. It'll get familiar with it. And instead of forcing it, you want to actually activate the muscle so your body feels in control. Then from that control point, your body will release tension. So how do you activate the muscles? From your left buttocks, you actually push the front foot down and forward. And you should feel the back line of your hamstrings activate when you do that. If not, you're just doing some other action. So it's the sit bone presses down, down is towards the ground, and forward towards the front of the mat. With a little micro tuck of the tailbone, you'll feel your hamstrings ignite, okay? Once they feel ignited, they'll be more likely to open. Okay, bend your knee. Down dog on the exhale. Forward to plank on the in-breath. Chaturanga as you exhale. This time, slide your hands wide onto your fingertips. Those of you who are new to me, we do a 3-part cobra, and it tends to be very challenging at first. Once you get familiar with it, it becomes very enjoyable, and it deepens your back bends rather quickly. But it takes some time to understand the concept and how to do it. So with your hands wide, elbows pointing up, the first step is to peel your chest away from the ground. A slight rounding, but not a big rounding of the back. So don't overdo abdominal contraction. Just lift up. You can see how my front body is kind of pulling back just a little bit. Now, that gets me away from the ground, but it might start to compress the low back. So then step 2 is to actually roll your shoulders back and press your low rib cage forward. And you can see how the front ribs sag down as a result. You see how my chest is no longer pulling back, but it's softening downward. I think that angle is probably the best, but I'll show you from the side angle as well. So instead of here, this is step 1. Step 2 is here. The ribs fall forward. The belly relaxes, okay? So back bends really are about pressing the spinal column forward. Now, from that place, if you do feel decompressed, you feel good, then the next step is to stretch the belly long. So I pull the abdomen up towards my throat, and that unfolds the spine. Okay, then release back down. Okay, that's a long time to be in that pose, so we'll come back to it later. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck your toes, exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's take the right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Step right foot forward. Rise up to high lunge. Push into your feet, hands to the sky. As you open up, warrior 2. Okay, pull your feet gently toward each other. Lift the hips, lift the abdomen, and then arms out to the sides. We'll do 2 more breaths here. One more breath. Reverse warrior, flip the front palm. Inhale, lift the right side up. As you exhale, side angle preparation, forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Sway the pelvis back, the groins back. Pull your feet toward each other till your hips again lift up. Then turn the belly, chest, shoulder. Holding here or sliding the right fingertips down to the inside of your right foot. That'll stretch the inner groin muscles, making it easier to do cross-legged positions. Left hand to the sky. Let's do 3 more breaths. Slow and steady with the breath. Okay, very slowly release the left hand. You're gonna place the back knee down, heel toe the right foot to the right. Okay, turn it out. Left hand over to the left and curl back. I'm gonna stretch the quadriceps, making it easier for those of you that decide to choose Virasana, the seat on the blocks as I showed earlier. So you're gonna pull your feet toward each other,
or knees toward each other. Like I said earlier, if the muscle is stretching, instead you learn how to activate the muscle in a lengthened position. That will build trust and ultimately give you more flexibility in a faster way, but at first it feels slower, okay? So the progress at first might be a slow burn, but as you build strength and your body builds trust with your mind, then you will open up faster in the long run. So bend the back knee, reach for the foot. Once you grab the foot, if you can't grab the foot, grab a strap, okay? So the strap around the foot is totally fine. But like I said a moment ago, if we're stretching the quads in this case, we want to activate the quads. So try this, hips up a little bit and press your foot gently into the hand until you feel the stretch sensation goes away a little. Then, as you kick your foot into your hand, you can bend your elbow and bring the foot a little bit closer. But make sure that once you do, you keep kicking your foot into your hand. So there's an activation of the quads. Holding that. 2 more breaths. Like Cobra pose, press your chest forward. Okay, and then release. We're going to step forward into Malasana, squat pose. Left foot outside the left hand, and then bring the left hand down, open twist. Right hand to the sky. Full breath in. Full breath out. 2 more. Inhale. One more. All right, release. Turn the toes inward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale and bow forward. Inhale again, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bow. One more time, inhale. Exhale and bow. Hands to the hips, arch the back and rise all the way up. Tadasana. Bend the knees, Utkatasana. Let's actually take the hands to the thighs. I know a lot of you are new, so I just want to make sure I give you the traditional cues that I use. Move your hips and knees back. You can start with toes lifted and press your heels out. So that when you press your heels out, the hamstrings, the backs of the legs, the buttocks moves outward like you're trying to separate the mat underneath your feet. And sit a little bit lower, and you're gonna feel your outer hip muscles activating. Okay, these muscles that really press the backs of the legs apart, I find are really important to develop a suppleness in order to sit more comfortably. The suppleness means strength and flexibility. Okay, so the muscle has health about it. Okay, as you press the hips back, now hopefully you start to feel your low back engaging. Lift the heart up. That we know that the low back is one of the key points to seated posture. To sit up straight, the strength of the low back is imperative, okay? So we get strength built here. Take the arms up on the inhale. Let's do 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. As you exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. And step the right foot straight back for Warrior One feet. Rise up, Warrior One. Palms together. So the back toes are turned in a little bit. Stretch the belly up, start to look up. Exhale. Just 1 more breath here. And take the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up. Draw the shoulder blades toward each other, elbows toward each other, and stretch the arms back behind you. 1 full breath in. Exhale, bow to the inside of your left leg. Inhale. Unravel your neck. Exhale. 2 more.
One more breath. Okay. Release the hands. Pivot the back heel up, straighten through the front leg, look forward. Exhale, bow forward. Bend the front knee, inhale. Down dog, exhale. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Slide the hands wide, come on your fingertips. Part number one, inhale, lift the front body. Exhale, two, sag the chest and rib cage down and forward. Press the low ribs forward towards the front. Inhale, stretch long through the belly, up through the back of the neck. Exhale, release. We'll do two more so you can get the hang of it a little bit. Inhale, lift the front body. Feet can be wide, by the way. Exhale, soften front body downward. Relax the chest, shoulders back. Stretch the abdomen up to the heart, heart up to the skull, skull up to the heavens, and exhale, release. One more, inhale. Soften. Stretch the belly. Release. All fours, hands and knees. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Let's take a breath in together. And out. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Rise up, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. Draw your feet toward each other. Lift through the inner thighs, up through the abdomen, and out to the arms. So there's a nice lightness to your posture coming from the strength of the foundation. Now, when you hold a posture, at first it feels probably pretty powerful, and then there's that moment where you get like, ooh, this is getting tiring. That's where the tapas kicks in. That's the friction, the heat, the intensity, or the fire, whatever imagery works for you. That friction is the part that yogis say we need to learn to embrace in order for true transformation to happen. Flip the left palm, inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle preparation. Hips back a little bit. Again, draw your feet in toward each other and then slide your left hand down to the inside of the left leg. Turn your belly, chest and shoulder. Reach the right arm possibly to the sky or keep it on the hip. We hold here for our breath to move through our system. Embracing the flow of energy that moves through us. As a privilege to be in the posture, recognizing that we are a human being with energy flowing through the system. Okay, release the hand to the ground, pivot the back knee to the earth, left foot over to the left, right hand to the right, curl open. So, a little bit on facilitated stretching, as I've kind of mentioned. This is the name of this. I didn't really say what the name of it is. So facilitated stretching is activating a muscle while it's lengthened. So pull your hips up a little bit by pulling your two knees toward each other. So activating a lengthened muscle is called facilitated stretching. I've said it builds trust between mind and body. Bend the knee, reach for the foot. What we know from a neurological standpoint, kick your foot back into your hand isometrically. From a neurological standpoint, we know that when you activate a muscle while it is lengthened, an entire feedback loop happens from sensation to brain response back to the muscle. So the muscle feels that there is tension. There's something called a Golgi tendon organ. It sends a signal to the brain saying, hey, there's too much tension on this muscle. It's both lengthened and engaged. And the brain says, well, let's release that tension. Of course, I'm giving a dialogue to the nervous system. And then sends a signal back to the muscle to release. And that's why after like 8 to 10 seconds or so of activating a muscle while it's lengthened, you'll actually have greater range of motion. You'll be able to bring it in closer. But you just want to be slow about that. Making sure you don't overstretch anything.
All right, and release the thigh stretch. Again, we're going to step right foot outside of right hand. The right hand goes down, left arm goes up for an open Malasana twist. All right, and release. Now, like we did in chair pose, where are we? Over here. Turn the legs in and press the backs of your hamstrings and buttocks apart. And that activation of that turning of the front thighs in and pressing the backs of the legs out is going to target the abductors, your outer hip muscles. Okay, those muscles are really helpful in keeping the pelvis more upright. If they're strong and supple, they have to be flexible and strong. It's hard to explain that, but there are multiple fibers of those outer hip muscles. So you can feel it here when you press the back of your hamstrings apart. It tips the pelvis forward more, which is one of the keys to sitting upright in a meditative seat or just in general at your desk. Okay, so lift the heart up and let's use our back muscles in Ardha Uttanasana here. So pressing the back of the hamstrings out. I'm going to show you from the side angle. Notice how I'm going to actually place the second wind block behind my calf, and you can see it's a little bit hard to see without the block, but you see how I'm vertical. If I wasn't vertical, then you would see the block would look something like this. There would be space behind me, but I'm leaning forward so that I'm more vertical in the position with my legs, and that makes it that the femur bone lines up in the hip socket much more easily. Okay, so you're going to press the backs of your hamstrings apart. If you got a block, you can just use it as a reference point. And what you should be feeling by pressing the backs of the legs apart and lifting the chest is your low back muscles and your outer hips. Okay, it's just going to help you sit more comfortably throughout this immersion. All right, and then bend the elbows and we can bow. Don't lean back though. Most people when they bow, they lean back. Keep it forward towards the toes. Remove the block if you have it. Hands to the hips, arch the back, rise up to stand. All right, this time let's do a little twisted chair pose on both sides just to unravel the spine. Bend the knees for Utkatasana, chair pose preparation, hands to the knees. Hips go back, same idea, press the backs of the legs apart. Lift the chest. Now as you exhale, a little rounding of the upper back to take the left tricep to the right thigh. Right palm on top. Peel your right shoulder back, turn the spinal column to the right. Now breathe behind the back of your heart. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Place your right hand on your thigh, left hand on your left thigh. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, right elbow across to the left. Place the left palm on top. Okay, pull your belly in. Turn it to the left. Again, now breathe behind your heart. Two more breaths. One more breath. Okay, left hand to the thigh, right hand to the opposite thigh. Inhale, lift the heart up. Hold. Press the backs of your hamstrings apart. Press the heels out. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Step your left foot back for Warrior One. Rise up, inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Hands together. Stretch the sides of the ribs up, look up to your thumbs. One more breath. And release the hands behind your back. Slide your hands to your low back and shrug your shoulders up for range of motion. Then squeeze them together. Reach the hands back on the inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, bow to the inside of your right leg.
Now for some of us, the tapas happens in shoulder openers. Others, it's hip openers. Not everybody faces the same challenge, the same intensity. You know, like what's hard for me might be easy for you. What's hard for you might be easy for me. So it's not about comparing our journey. Tapas is really about our sadhana, our life's practice, or our yoga practices, where we face challenges, learning how to embrace them for ourselves. So that's about an inward journey. It's a personal experience. Now we can do that together. We just can't expect that we all have the same challenges. Release the hands. On the inhale, straighten through the front leg, pivot the back heel up. Exhale and bow. Inhale, bend the front knee. Step to down dog. Forward to plank pose on the inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the feet and hands wide. Inhale, lift the front body. Soften. Stretch the abdomen. And release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck toes, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Step forward as you exhale. High lunge, rise up. Open up, warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle, this time hand to the outside of the foot. Left arm over the ear, extended side angle. Turn the belly and the chest, full breath in. And out. Press your front heel down a little stronger, turn your belly. One more breath. All right, left hand to the hip, Ardha Chandrasana, right hand out to the side, slide the back foot forward and lift up. And keep the standing leg bent. This is a great time to use your block, supporting yourself, giving yourself a little lift. Turn the chest, turn the belly. Left hand potentially to the sky. One more breath. Bend the knee, slow, steady. Left foot to the ground. Three-legged dog, right leg up to the sky on the inhale. Right shin across the mat, pigeon prep. Okay, follow me closely here. You're going to tuck your back toes, lift your hips up, move your front knee back a little bit. I'm going to show you that from the front angle as well. So you lift up, move back. For some of you, if you've got knee pain, it can be really helpful. Instead of placing the block underneath your hip, place it under your shin and let your foot hang off of the block like here. Okay, see if that works for you. Okay, now bow, if possible, bow to the inside, to the left of your foot. The back leg, you can see, is very active. Maybe that's a better angle. See how the back leg is spinning in and reaching back. So I'm not like relaxing here. I'm actually pulling my hips back to stay in the stretch. And the front foot, I'm going to show you another angle as well. Even if I'm on the block, you see how the foot is really active? If I'm off the block, I definitely recommend pointing the foot, but you're going to see that my front ankle actually stays lifted. You see the little space underneath there? Okay. Those little activations that are easier to just kind of let go than it is to stay in the intensity of them, they really help the entire body to develop a cohesiveness. Targeting the muscles that we normally wouldn't engage brings a tremendous amount of body awareness. And that body awareness brings strength and flexibility and ultimately know-how. Okay, coming on out. Step to down dog. On the next breath in, come forward to plank. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, lift the front body up. Soften, try to sag the chest or press it forward even. Stretch the abdomen upward without pressing backwards. So don't press the chest back, keep it forward. And release. That's the key to back bends, is keeping the chest forward. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step left foot forward. Press down, rise up, high lunge, inhale. Open Virabhadrasana 2. Reverse. Extended side angle, so Utthita Parsva Konasana. Right arm overhead. Turn the chest. Let's breathe here, a couple breaths. Press your left heel down so your hips activate. One more. Okay, right hand to the hip, look down, tap the back foot forward, left hand out in front, rise, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. You can keep the standing leg bent if you like, or straighten it, it's really up to you. Those will target different muscle groups. A few breaths here to really warm up the hips so we get into pigeon on this side. All right, slow. Both hands to the, sorry, I came to warrior 2 first. Warrior 2. Exhale, hands to the ground. Three-legged dog, inhale. Left shin across the mat. Okay, so the back toes tucked, spin the thigh in and reach the hips back. Again, option, I love to place the block underneath the shin. To me, that gives a nice deeper hip stretch without any sort of knee issues. Okay, move the hips back. Bow to the right. All right, coming on out. You can actually just step to all fours here. And in the, while the energy is high, let's get into a meditation preparation. Okay, we'll use pranayama to balance it out. I suggest grabbing a block. I'm going to face you a little bit, but you can face the front of the mat, of course. Now, one thing I want to discuss is that there are multiple layers to meditation in itself. So the mind has, it's a crazy experience in here, right? So the mind is processing all of life's experiences, meaning it's processing what's coming in from the light in your eyes, the sound in your ears, the taste in your mouth, your skin, and so on, okay, what you're smelling. So the senses are part of the mind's job, right? But there's also the ego as part of the mind, our identity, how we're, basically placing our self-value and self-worth on objects or things or people or roles that we play in society outside of ourselves. There's layers of something called samskaras, which basically are the patterns of how our upbringing has formed the contour of the, let's say, the lens for which we receive information through. So that's why in a certain situation,
someone says something, it triggers us, we get angry, the person next to us doesn't get triggered. So there's some scars. The contour of their mind is different than the contour of our mind. The lens that we look at life through is unique to our life's experiences. Okay, so that's you know, a little bit about all the different layers that you might experience in a meditation. Or some of the layers. That's not all the layers. Okay, so what I want to first stress is that meditation is predominantly, or the first step to meditation is cultivating the strength of your attention. Let's just think about attention as being able to focus on something. It could be focusing on an object outside yourself or something within yourself. For most meditations, we try to focus on something within ourselves because we're very good at harnessing attention for things outside, like the computer screen or the tasks that we're doing or the person that's talking. And we tend to lose that attention when focusing inward. So that's not to say that we can't cultivate attention and use that as a meditation outward. We will. That's more like the second stage of yogic practices, is to, once you've gone inward, you've cultivated your attention, you've cleaned out a lot of the garbage of the mind, then you bring that awareness that you've cultivated back into your day-to-day living. But at first, let's just treat meditation as like brushing your teeth. Just scrape off the plaque of the teeth a little bit so they're clean, so that you can go throughout your day with clean teeth, you know, and starting anew each day, each morning with a new fresh breath and fresh, clean teeth. It's the same thing for the mind. Meditation is about clearing away the plaque of the mind so that you can go through each day the best you can. But it's not like going to the dentist where you get that deep clean, right? Maybe you do that once, twice a year, whatever it is. Meditation has levels where you're getting a deep clean of the mind. For right now in this meditation, this is more of the maintenance. This is the kind of meditation that you might practice on a daily basis, whereas as we go deeper into this immersion, we're going to get to the ones that are more like the deep clean, taking out the trash of the mind, getting down to our ego and our samskaras and so on. But you may not be wanting to do that every day of your life. It may not be appropriate. It might be best just to kind of get into a calm state of mind, you know, clean out the plaque from yesterday and the day before or whatever, and then go throughout your day. And a lot of the times it has to do with how much time you're in the meditation for, because you know, you can't penetrate all the layers of your existence in an instant until you've had a lot of practice. Obviously, if you're masterful at meditation, then yes, you can just jump right in and kind of do the rotor-rooter work, get down into the depths of it. So this meditation is more taking care of the day-to-day routine, organizing the mind, and ultimately the main purpose is to strengthen your attention. So doing this daily is very important because it flexes the muscle of attention, which is what we'll need to go deeper. So I can't stress enough, the way that the muscular system, the mind works, everything in life, is that routine showing up is what's going to build the overall strength, which will allow us to go deeper. To a degree, going deeper is a different skill set, but it requires that you have a strong attention. Okay, so how do we cultivate attention? We start with a pranayama. The pranayama is called Dirgha Pranayama. It's a 3-part breath. That means we'll be controlling the inhalation and the exhalation. Inhaling through the belly first. Let's do it together, hands on the abdomen. Inhale, press your belly out into your hands. Exhale, belly goes back. That's the first of the 3-part breath. Inhale, belly goes out. Exhale, belly goes back. Now the second part is belly goes out and rib cage then expands to allow for more breath. So you know belly out, so take hands on ribs. We'll just isolate the second compartment of breath, thoracic breathing. So this time as you breathe in, you're going to try to push your hands out with your rib cage. You can see my hands move apart as a result of my ribs moving. The rib cage, the walls of the ribs press outward. Now, if you've never done this, it's quite normal that your ribs aren't going to move much because it requires, strength and flexibility of these muscles called intercostal muscles. They're the muscles between the ribs. They get stronger from doing this, and if you don't do it, then they're likely to be weak right now. So that's just going to take some practice and just cultivating your attention and driving it into the movement of your rib cage. And then lastly, the collarbones naturally lift up at the top of an inhale, so it's allowing the collarbones to rise. That's right, lifting the shoulders up naturally at the top of the breath. Okay, so watch me for one moment. You're gonna watch my belly goes out first. Rib cage expands. Collarbones lift. And then exhale. Collarbones, rib cage, belly. Okay, so belly, ribs, collarbones, collarbones, ribs, belly. Let's try Dirga Pranayama together. Close the eyes. We use the sound of Ujjayi, the whisper through the nose first. Just breathe in through the nose. And exhale out through the nose with the whisper. If you're new to Ujjayi, it's just a gentle constriction of the throat muscles. Again, in through the nose. Out through the nose. You might accidentally snore as a result. That's just your muscles trying too hard to control it. Okay, so just gently open your eyes for one moment. Before we get into Dirga Pranayama, make sure you have this gentle constriction of the throat. You can practice fogging the mirror. That's the same constriction as the throat muscles in Ujjayi. The only difference is the mouth is open. Okay, so try it a couple of times. Mouth open, mouth closed. Eventually on the inhale as well. Together, Dirga Pranayama. Ujjayi, inhale through the nose. The belly expands. The ribs expand. The collarbones rise gently. Exhale, the shoulders relax. The ribs relax slow. The belly relax and pulls it back. Inhale, the belly expands. The ribs inflate. The shoulders rise. Slow exhale, shoulders, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, shoulders, shoulders, ribs, belly. Okay, pause. Keep the eyes closed. And we use this tool of Dirga Pranayama to go inward and strengthen our attention. First, readjust the posture. Gently tip your pelvis forward so that there is a gentle arch of your low back. Expand the back body, ever so slight rounding of the upper back. Move your hands back slightly so that you can lift your shoulders up and glide them back just enough that the shoulder blades can rest down the back of your rib cage. Bring the head back in line so that the ears are in line with shoulders and the skull is directly over the pelvic floor. Now observe the line energetically from the pelvis up through the neck to the skull and beyond. Let's do Dirga Pranayama together. Gentle whisper through the nose, the belly expands, the ribs expand, the shoulders gently rise. Exhale, the shoulders relax, the ribs relax, and the belly relaxes. Again, 3-part breath. The belly goes out. The ribs expand. Shoulders gentle lift to make space. Exhale, shoulders slow. Ribs. Belly. Belly expands, ribs expand, shoulders rise. Exhale, shoulders, ribs, belly. Slow the breath down now. Belly, ribs, shoulders, ribs, belly. Relax the breathing. Just breathe natural. Observe the experience you are having right now. What does it feel like? Feel into the sensational experience that you are having. Feel your body tingling with energy. You might feel it in the palms, the neck or the skull. Or at the third eye, wherever you feel the gentle tingle of energy, wherever it's loudest. Harness your attention on it there. Feeling the sensations of prana, of life energy inside of you. If you can't feel it, there's no tingling, there's no vibration, there's no subtle sensation, then just watch your breath at the tip of your nose. You'll notice cool air is coming in and warm air is leaving. Do your best not to control the breath now, but rather let it move in and out of you. Let your body be breathed. If you experience a thought or an emotion that pops in, just bring your attention back to either the breath at the tip of the nose or the sensation of prana inside of you. Whichever you're choosing, bring your awareness back to it. The practice now is to strengthen your attention period. Utilizing what you are focusing on. The tapas, the rigor, will be when you witness thought or emotion is captivating your attention. The tapas is to bring it back. The rigor is to say, I see I've been distracted. Now bring it back to the focal point that you are choosing today. Guide your attention to the focal point, be it breath at the tip of the nose, or sensation, tingling, vibration in your body. Keep your attention on the focal point. Keep your attention on your focal point. Keep bringing your attention back to the focal point. back to your breath and intentionally inhale. And exhale. Awaken, slow your fingers and toes. And your wrists. Rub the palms together, create heat. Place the hands over the eyes, take a breath in. And out. Bring the palms together again, create heat. Hands over the heart, take a breath in. And out. One more time. Hands over the belly. Massage the legs. Try to get to the calves and touch your feet so you get grounded. All right. Place the hands at the heart center. With gratitude for these practices that have been passed down to us, we take a moment and bow inward. I want to thank you all for showing up, for your attention, for your practice, for your efforts, for staying in the tapas, the rigor, be it physical, energetic, or mental. We all face these challenges. So thank you for stepping in today. Thank you for your practice. Namaste. All right, have a beautiful day and enjoy yourself. Thanks for practicing meditation with me. Namaste.